Sakura delivered another punch to the wooden post. She'd lost track of how many hits she'd landed. Dozens of posts were scattered across Training Ground 7, the sound echoing through the otherwise silent field. It was the same routine, day in and day out, for the last 3 months. She found it hard to believe it had almost been a year since Naruto first returned from his training trip. Now he was gone again, somewhere only Haku knew about. Tsunade received word from her periodically, all of Naruto's peers cramming into the Hokage office in the hopes of good news. Unfortunately, Haku was often vague in her letters. All they knew was that Naruto was steadily recovering, and that he made contact with the Seven Tails. That was a few weeks ago, and the messages had stopped. Sakura wished she could ignore the worry in her chest. Everyone did. All they could do was focus on their training and missions. Sakura threw another punch, accidentally turning the post into splinters. She glanced down at her fists. 4 years ago, this kind of training would leave her hands soaked in blood. Tsunade would then heal them, and Sakura would keep going. Now, Sakura didn't even suffer a scratch. She wished she could say it was an improvement. But if it wasn't enough to beat Sasuke, she couldn't accept it was her best. She needed to be better in both aspects of her skills, taijutsu and genjutsu. Maybe if I combine the two, Sakura muttered. She paused her thinking to look at the new arrival in the training grounds. "What are you doing here, Lady Tsunade?" The Hokage paused in front of the pile of broken posts. "I received word from our border patrols. Naruto and Haku entered the Land of Fire a few days ago. They should be here by tomorrow morning." Sakura let out a huge sigh of relief, Tsunade chuckling. "I'm going around the village to inform everyone in person. I should warn you though, Haku's last message asked to not make a big deal about Naruto's return. He's still not fully recovered, mentally." Sakura nodded slowly. "I get it. We shouldn't treat this like his return from that training trip. We need to be there as support, not fanfare." Tsunade agreed. "Once they're back, Team 7 will be placed on permanent duty inside the village until further notice. I'm not letting that idiot Uzumaki out of my sight ever again." "You know he won't listen that easily," Sakura frowned. "I know, but it might help. If missions regarding Sasuke arise, I'll allow your team to act. But this business with the Akatsuki and the tailed beasts is off limits," the Hokage stated. Sakura knew when her sensei was serious. This was one time it bordered on bloodlust. She wanted nothing more than for Naruto to ignore the threat of the Akatsuki, and was willing to do anything to ensure it. At the same time, both women knew it was impossible. "Were Naruto parents like this?" Sakura asked. "He's got both of their drives," Tsunade admitted. "The number of times I've had to accept that is too many." Sakura smiled. For the Hokage, that was incredible praise. A testament to Naruto as both a person and shinobi. Early next day. "Welcome to Yamanaka Flower Shop. What can I get you?" Ino muttered as she sensed someone enter behind her. "I was wondering if you had any of those orange flowers I gave you 4 years ago." Ino whipped around to see Naruto, a thin smile on his face. She was taken aback by how tall he was. More than that, she was surprised he was here. Yes, of course we do. I've actually kept some for you all this time," Ino stuttered out, ducking into the back room. Naruto's smile grew as he was handed the bouquet. "Here you are. 1 bundle of Uzumaki Sunshines," said Ino. "That's what you named them? I'd be surprised if you sold many." Naruto mused aloud. "Most of our peers have some actually," Ino chuckled. "We've all been worried, you know." "I know," Naruto replied. It was nice seeing you. I'll be walking around if you need me. Ino nodded as Naruto left. She sighed in relief that she was the one who was working at the flower shop today. Training Ground 9. You'll need to be faster if you want to stand a chance against Lee, Hinata, Neji yelled at his cousin. Hinata responded with a nod while avoiding a flurry of kicks from Rock Lee. Tenten and Shino watched with Neji on the side. In only a week, Hinata had improved more than any expected. Neji was certain she could defeat him at this point. Of course, that wasn't enough, so she asked Lee for a sparring match. Against the taijutsu specialist, she found herself lagging behind. But she refused to back down, using every ounce of energy to pick up the pace. Neji turned at the sound of Naruto walking towards him and the others. He quickly hid his surprise. Shino nodded to the blonde, Tenten's eyes widening for a moment. Does she know I'm here? Naruto asked the Hyuga. Her Byakugan is active, so yes. Surprised she didn't get flustered by your presence? Naruto shook his head. She got over me a long time ago. If not for Haku, I might have reciprocated her feelings. It just wasn't meant to be. Neji nodded. She still holds you in high regards. Naruto chuckled. The same goes for her. Hey Lee, Hinata. When you have some time off, I'd like to spar. Will do, Lee shouted as he jumped over Hinata's next attack. Hinata gave a slight nod in the blonde's direction, slipping into the 64 palm stance. Naruto watched with fascination as Hinata seemed to dance across the battlefield with Lee. Ichiraku Ramen. Another bowl, please, Choji declared. Ayame and Teiuchi hard at work to keep up with the Yakimichi. I know it's your clan's thing and all, but can you really eat this much ramen? Kiba grumbled. Akamaru sniffing his master's food. A better question is, how can you not? The Inuzuka whipped around to see Naruto duck into the stand, a sour expression immediately forming. Look who's back, the blonde Uzumaki. You normally only see Karin here. Naruto chuckled as he sat down. I guess love for ramen is a family thing. How has Karin been doing? With everything going on, I've barely seen her. She's been doing great, Choji chimed in. She's one of the top doctors at the hospital, passed only by Sakura, Shizune, and Lord Hokage. Naruto's smile widened. Do you know when she's off work? She should be here any minute now, Kiba huffed, looking to Akamaru as he turned his head. Speaking of, she's on her way. Naruto leaned outside the stall, gaze landing on the vibrant red hair of his cousin. You grew it out again? Naruto asked, noticing the length of her hair. Karin was taken aback before quickly jumping into Naruto's arms. You're back! Are you alright? Do you need me to heal you? She asked with worry. Naruto smiled. I'm fine, but thank you. Glad to see you've been moving up at the hospital. Karin nodded with a wide smile, sitting down between Naruto and Kiba. Naruto caught the faint red glow in Kiba's cheeks, his eyes growing wide. He then looked at Karin, her eyes hovering on the Inuzuka as well. Hold on, do you two have a thing that's going on that I don't know about? What? No, Kiba blurted out, almost falling off his seat. He's right, there's nothing going on, Karin stuttered. No point hiding it, Choji laughed. Everyone knows Kiba's had an eye on her for a while now. Naruto turned to Karin. And you feel the same? No, I find Kiba unpleasant. He's always staring at me like that. You know how I feel about people staring, Karin hissed, face as red as her hair. Naruto couldn't hold his laughter back. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I just never expected Kiba to be interested in my own cousin. It's not funny, Naruto, Kiba growled, Akamaru barking at his master in amusement. Believe me, I never expected this to happen either. Let alone you find out. And Karin, if I made you uncomfortable, you should have said something. Karin looked away in embarrassment. Choji and Naruto laughing as Kiba tried to hide his own. Kiba, you're a nice guy. I'm sure you meant no harm, said Naruto. If Karin felt the same, I'd support you both. His eyes then turned ice cold. But if you do anything to my cousin, you'll regret it. Kiba felt a shiver run down his spine. If he didn't know better, he would have thought the Ninetales would have appeared. He was fortunate to be considered a friend by the blonde, or Naruto would do far worse than what he implied. That's a little far, right? Karin asked hesitantly. Naruto shook his head. Not at all. Besides, Kiba's smart enough not to do anything like that anyway. Right, Kiba? Yes, whatever, man, Kiba yelled. Sorry, but I've got to go wash Akamaru. The Inuzuka beckoned his companion, eventually having to drag the frightened dog away by the fur. Nara compound. Asuma felt his soul leave his body once more. He really needed to stop playing games with Shikamaru. No matter how hard he tried, once Shikamaru had played the game once, he was guaranteed victory. But Nara simply humored his sensei. Naruto was no different. The Uzumaki stopped by during a shogi match and became interested. Asuma suggested they play a match. It was close for his first time playing, but Naruto managed to win. Asuma then wanted Shikamaru and Naruto to go against each other. It was now an hour into their match, and it looked as if Naruto had the advantage. Have you ever taken an IQ test, Naruto? Asuma asked. No, but I've never put much belief in them either. In the shinobi world, everyone excels in one area but lacks another. For me, my mind is best suited for ninjutsu. Shikamaru scoffed. With all those elements in Kekkei Genkai you have, it makes me look like an amateur. However, I still beat you in strategy. Naruto looked down at the board as Shikamaru made his next move. Less than 5 minutes later, Shikamaru was officially the victor. Naruto just stared at the board while Asuma chuckled. I guess the Nara clan continues to go undefeated. Shikamaru laid on his back, gazing at the clouds. Naruto gave me a better fight than you ever have, sensei. Asuma smiled. Glad to see you enjoyed yourself. And I'm glad to see you doing well, Naruto. I'm sure Hiruzen would be proud. Naruto nodded in thanks. How's Konohamaru lately? Excelling alongside his peers? I have no doubt they're the second coming of the Rookie 9. Naruto nodded once more, standing to leave. Tell him I said hi. I've got to get going. There's one more person I've got to see. Hokage Monument. Seriously, Naruto? I've been looking everywhere for you, Sakura shouted. And of all places you wind up here. I should have expected it. Naruto sat atop Hiruzen's stone face, staring over at his father's. Sakura knelt beside him, following his gaze. When I was young, before I knew Minato was my father, I considered vandalizing his monument. He gave me the Ninetales, forced me to become a Jinchuriki from the moment I was born. I'm sure he never expected me to run around the great nations collecting fragments of the other beasts. A part of me will always hate him and my mother for doing it to me, for forcing me to witness this hell. Sakura looked away. I sense a but coming. Naruto sighed. At the same time, if not for the fox, I might not have met all these amazing people. I might not have fallen for Haku. I might not be Naruto Uzumaki without the fox. I feel the same, Sakura admitted. I used to hate you, and I'm glad I did. It allowed me to understand who you really are. It sounds sick, but that's the truth. Naruto smirked. Just so we're clear, I hated you too. Sakura lightly punched his arm. Why is Haku not with you? I wanted some time alone to see everyone again. She should be back at our forest haven. If I don't join her soon, she might panic. Sakura nodded, both standing to go their separate ways. She looked at the boys back, fists tightening. Naruto? There is one thing I regret. I regret making you promise to bring Sasuke back. I know, Naruto muttered. Sakura took a deep breath. You don't have to keep holding on to that promise. I'm strong now. I can take on that burden for you. I know, Sakura. But I'm not chasing him just to keep my promise to you. I promised myself I'd do it. Sakura smiled, turning around. I expected as much. Never mind then. We'll do it together. Sound good? Yeah, sounds good, Naruto replied, his presence vanishing. Forest of the Hidden Leaf, evening. Naruto walked through the narrow path to his haven, the vegetation much thicker than when he first moved there. He figured it would be useful to train his wood style. He had mastered the basics and was ready to learn harder techniques. He'd have to contact Yamato for the proper scrolls. Other than that, he needed more training with storm and explosion style. There's that other element. The one the Tsuchikage used, Naruto muttered. What was it called? Particle style, I think? A little too dangerous for my liking. One wrong move on either party's front, and I might kill whoever I use it against. Plus, it uses a lot of chakra. Redirecting it even required chakra. I assume this is another technique I'm unable to copy. A shame. This particle style would work wonders against my brother. Naruto stopped walking. A figure draped in a black cloak standing in front of him. The only light in the forest came from their red eyes. 3 tomo around the pupil. Naruto sighed deeply. You always show up at the worst times, don't you, Sasuke? If you like what you just heard, consider hitting the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about new videos. If there's a part you've missed, then check out the entire playlist on screen. If you like this story, please share it with your fellow anime lovers. Any support helps a lot. That's all for now. This is Ninja Kai, disappearing in a golden flash.